back to the Coaches Corner here at Self-Made Training Facility, and a Happy New Year from myself and Jarvis, 2026. It's our first episode of the year, but it's also going to be a continuation of what we discussed last time. So we're doing a little series on information and what we've learned, what we've gone through, and the mistakes that we've made that hopefully you won't make in your first prep or in your early on your preps. So we went through the financial costs of doing a prep. We went through like selecting out a coach and having a good rapport with your coach, what to look for as a coach looking into a client, and what you as a client are looking for in a coach. And today we're going to talk about your relationships. And most of us don't live under a rock somewhere. We have to deal with people every day. And so how prep can affect the relationships that you're in at home, in the workplace, and also for people that are listening that are not in prep, things that you may need to consider when knowing that a loved one or a friend of yours is in prep. So I got a cool prep story. It'll make me look like an a-hole, but I'll save that one for later. So I'll let Jarvis start us off with what is one little thing or one story that you have for us of one of the oopsies in a relationship, or like maybe you snapped at somebody or said something you shouldn't have said in a prep? Because normally you're a pretty like jolly, happy dude. You're probably one of the most like level-headed, smiley guys in prep that I've seen a bunch of preps that you've done. Yeah. But is there anyone like even before we met, or even if it was like cutting for boxing back in the day, any type of prep situation that you can think of?
Only when I'm working out. When I'm in the middle of my workout and I have
in the zone,
and then people interrupt that with silliness. That's when I'll get a little bit more irate than I typically would.
Right.
But other than that, no. I mean, relationship wise, I'm blessed to have support in my relationship. My previous relationship was a total opposite.
Preach.
I kind of hope she sees this. But yeah, I had
drag her in the comments.
Right. I had no support in that relationship at all. It was terrible. Like I'm in prep and can you take me to get a burrito? All right, cool.
So
but now it's a total. I've been blessed this time. I mean, my wife, she preps with me. She goes, everything I eat. We just did a 60-hour fast today, and she did it with me. And even though she was in pain and crying and it was terrible, she still rocked with me. So. Yeah. So
60 hours.
Crazy. Yeah, 60 hours. Just finished up right now, like an hour ago.
Okay, good. Because I'm not trying to get attacks in here.
No, I think we're good.
So what about your competitors? As a coach, in training males and females for competition, what have you seen as far as like even the way that their relationship with you or their relationship that they may have discussed with you about their life and what they've gone through?
Competitors wise, I know this can it's pretty tough because when you're training people that haven't done this before, I'm gonna say it can make or break you. I've had competitors that get addicted to it after their first show and want to keep going. And I've had competitors that completely stop like training altogether because
it's too much. Because
it's just too much. Like they just didn't. Instead of even just continuing in the gym, I haven't seen them at all.
Right.
So it's like I've had those extremities left and right happen that way. So it's pretty tough going through a prep. So
I noticed too that when people know that you're in prep, I think they look for you to be more irritable, or they're looking for it.
They're looking for something out of you. Yeah.
And they want to like blame the prep.
Yes, that's true. That's
so I think too true. They kind of poke at you a little bit. I mean, you specifically, just as competitors in general.
Yeah.
You go out to eat with your family or friends or something like that, and you order grilled chicken breast and a side salad with a lemon to put on it or something like that.
And they have something to say or.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be nice if you had this here burrito or this here burger or whatever.
Yeah. Like, why? That doesn't benefit me. You should be happy. I'm trying to do this for myself,
And so I had it. I said, you got to look at it. If you surround yourself with people that actually do care about you, there's a place and time where they can like joke about it and it can be funny, haha. But when it's just repeatedly like poking the bear over and over again.
Yeah, it gets annoying.
You can't get mad when the bear starts swiping back.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
That lead me to mine. I'd done 2 competitions in Abu Dhabi and a deadlift competition when I hadn't, and I didn't come home during those times. And so when I finally decided to get out of Abu Dhabi and come home and start my life here, I just finished a prep. And so I was in like whatever recovery phase. And for me, it was mostly just get fat phase because I hadn't been home in 3 years. And here I am at like Bevmo and Total Wine, I got all the beers I want and like all the steaks I want, all the restaurants I want. And so I blew up and gained like 30 pounds that summer, probably not the best 30 pounds. And then I decided I hired my coach back in the day, Pete Ciccone, and we were gonna do a prep together. So we did like a month of like a maintenance phase so he could understand how my body responds to food. And then we started our diet. And of course I hired him in like September. So you had like Halloween, we came up the next month. Then you had Thanksgiving, and you had Christmas, you had New Year's. And my show was going to be at the end of February, early March.
Oh boy, you were
so it came, I was like deep into prep by, Thanksgiving. And I remember he said you could have one thing on Thanksgiving. Or back then, before my grandma passed away, I loved these like brownies or whatever she made, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have that. So I took out my Tupperware, dumped it on my plate, and everyone else was like, what?
Yeah.
And there's one family member of mine, my former step-grandfather, my stepdad's dad, he was a jokester. He's like, the old white dude that gets in your personal space. You can smell what he had for breakfast.
Yeah.
That was him. Yeah. Thought he was a funny guy. And so it becomes funny to a point. And so, Halloween, you get crap. Thanksgiving, you get crap. There's a birthday party in December, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And always like joking, making fun. Oh, carrying around that blue water, because you have the aminos in it.
Yeah.
Or, you're not eating with us today? Oh, you're too good for us? Oh, always got a joke about it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm talking, this is like 6 family events in a row in like 2 months. And I just had to take it, yep. So I just be quiet, take the high road. And then January came, and it was someone's birthday. And my mom, who's a saint, when she would make dinners or things like that for a social gathering in prep, she would make everything with no sauces. So she had all like 99.1 turkey, 93.7 ground beef, chicken breast, no seasonings, so that people would have to put it on because she didn't know what my meals were like for that day. So it was almost like she had my meals all prepped, and she had like the bell peppers, the mushrooms, whatever, everything you could want. And so there's building tacos. It was like a taco bar. And I was so deep into prep, I was on really low carbs. It was just 99.1 turkey, bell peppers, and spinach. I put a little bit of like red wine vinegar on there. Okay. And I just was sitting there in the kitchen, spooning that into my mouth, trying to enjoy time with the family. And step-grandpa, this is event number 7 now. Yeah. He comes up with this chalupa ass looking big old taco thing with like, dripping off the sauce with the fatty ground beef it's orange, it's got all the seasoning on it. He's got the cheese with the guacamole and the salsa, and I don't like sour cream. Dude had way too much sour cream on there. Looked like an avalanche on his taco. Okay. And so he holds up the taco and starts putting it towards my face, and then I don't like sour cream, and he touches my face with it. He says, "Don't you want any? Doesn't that look nice?" Touches my face. So I backhand the taco out of his hand. Taco goes flying. Tacos stuck to the ceiling and everything like that. Yeah. And everyone looks at me like, what would you do that for? Yeah. And then I did my little snap, and I said, I don't want to be fat like you. I don't want to be fat like you. I don't want to be fat like you. And I looked at everybody and I said that. But that was 12 years ago. And how many family events since then? And not anyone has ever said anything again about me being in prep. Right. Yeah. I come in, you in prep today? Oh, no. Oh, good. We'll eat whatever. You're prep. Okay, what would you like to eat? Yeah. No more giving me shit. No one talking crap. So, but who's the a-hole there? Right. Now I am, right? Because I was the guy in prep. I was the guy that finally, but the 6-7 events before that where they're giving me stink, we have to take it. Right. So only so much you can bend before you break. But that was my story. Now, let's talk about some things that you can do to mitigate your relationship stress. There's one extreme, which is being a hermit, not doing anything, not going anywhere. But I think that down the line causes you future stress. So for me, I say the first thing I think people need to do is take inventory of where your strengths and weaknesses are.
Okay.
So for me, my strength is in the grocery store. I know that I can walk around the grocery store, I can look at the food item and not put it in my cart. Okay. But my weakness is in the pantry. Okay. If that Pop-Tart somehow makes it into my house, at a point of weakness, I'll go in the pantry and eat it. Okay. I'm not going to like be sitting at home and be like, you know what, I need a Pop-Tart right now. I'm going to drive to the store and get one. Yeah. So I know where my strength is. So I just got to be strong enough to not get it in the cart. Okay. Right? And then when it comes to events, what is some advice you would have to someone who has an event that they have to go to?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say just come prepared. If you have to go to an event, take your meals with you. It's the simplest thing. Take your water with you. I've been to many events. I mean, like I say, I prepped for, I would say, about 5 years straight, and all through the holidays, every holiday, every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, all the major holidays I've been prepping through, and going to quinceañeras, weddings, birthdays, and I've always brought my meal preps with me. Eating there in the middle of a wedding, ask them, hey, do you guys have a microwave?
All right.
No? Okay, I'll just eat my cold chicken. I'm good to go. But yeah, I mean, they know it. They do make they make fun of it because I think they can't do it. They don't understand it.
Right. They're gonna be afraid of what they don't know.
Yes.
Not gonna understand.
Yes. But also that sets you apart, and I like it. I like to be different, and just coming in prepared. If you know you have an event, get prepared. And if you can't be prepared, then make the best choice there. Right. At least make a conscious decision not to mess up your prep by just going completely off guard. Just make the best choice of what's in front of you. Just.
What would you say to someone if they're like, you know what, I'm just not going to go? Is there a healthy level of I'm just not going to go? Or is there, like, where do you find the balance between, like, going, not going, going for part-time? Where do you draw the line there?
I would say, one, I would look at how close it is to their show, to their event, if they're in prep, right? Mm-hmm. If it's really close to your show, I'm gonna say a month in. If you got a month, 30 days before your show, you shouldn't go anyway. I mean, you kind of got to be dialed in, locked in at that point. I wouldn't really go a week to Disneyland like how one of my other clients do. Yeah. She went to Disneyland the week before. But yeah, no, I would say just be kind of locked in that way.
I found too that going and doing events where it's in someone's house or where there's more control versus a restaurant is a lot easier. I would ask and be like, what are you guys serving? And some of my clients, when they have to do the same thing, they're like, well, is it impolite to ask? I'm like, no, just shoot them a text and say, hey, what are we having for dinner? What are you making? And see what it's going to be. Yeah. That's one way to prepare. The second thing, too, is if it's at someone's house, I've brought my uncooked chicken there, and I've brought my sweet potato or brought my bag of rice or whatever, so that while they're grilling or when they're cooking, I am also, hey, man, throw this on the grill next to your cheeseburger. Yeah. You can throw your chicken breast on there. That way, too, you're not having to bring like a reheated meal prep. It doesn't look that much different. It goes on the grill right next to everybody else. Yeah. You're eating at the same time they're eating, as opposed to like, you're sitting there awkwardly watching them all eat. You're like, I'm going to go sneak away to my car and I'm going to heat this up without them seeing it or whatever. But I found that I think it is important to still do things that are social, whether it's like go on a date with your girlfriend or wife or something like that, or hang out with your buddies. There's only so much gym you can revolve your life around. And of course, with us being both competitors and trainers, there's a lot of revolutions around being in the gym. Yeah. And a lot of our life and our time is spent here. But it's not the same for everybody else. Right.
But I'd say make that decision, like I said, if it's 30 days before your show, okay, lock down, lock in, and focus on the show. Everybody should kind of know, like, all right, this is weeks. This is, getting nearing peak week.
Right.
Be locked in. But I say, other than that, your prep is really meticulous. You can plan it out. I mean, if if it's something spontaneous, maybe not. But if it's something like, all right, next week we want to do a date to this place. All right, let's do it. Plan it out. That way it's not a surprise on you. And you don't have to say yes to every event. I personally would be like, I'll go to this one, but the next one I'm not gonna do.
Right. You already have it ahead of schedule.
Yeah. So sometimes, I mean, I've had events like that where it come up in the same day. Oh, we have to go to my cousin's house this time, and then your mom's house at this time. Like, okay, well, I can't do both, but I'll do your cousin's house, and I just make whatever decision at that time. But every event I don't go to when I'm in prep. I pick and choose which ones. I try to make it balanced to where, like, I'm in prep, so I'm not gonna hit every event. But I'll go to this one and I'll stay, or cut it back. Like, I'm gonna go, but I'm only gonna stay
for an hour or 2 hours.
Stay for an hour or two. So I mean, that way I don't get. If it's in between meals, perfect. I'll go. They don't even have to see me eat. Then I gotta take off. Perfect.
And I think too, you practice discipline that way when you are putting yourself in that situation, so that when something spontaneous does arrive, that you have to do or you have to go to. For your partner or for a family member, something comes up, you've practiced how to like evolve and get through that versus it just being like, oh man, this thing showed up, I don't know what to do, I'm just going to eat whatever they're eating, right? But there's also the non-food part about it, and I think that's one thing you were alluding to was you can't say yes to everything. And that's one mistake that I made this last prep was like, I think I was go, and up until the hour we left to drive out to Vegas. I don't think I and then when we got to Vegas, it was like, got to go to the grocery store, got to this. I didn't even take a breath till like after getting off stage, I know we had, the week before I had a shooting event with Sheriff Chad Bianco, and the week before that I went to Mark's event, and the week before that I helped a friend move, and the week before that I was like, and you're like 3-4 weeks out, and you're like, yeah. And I did that a lot too, because they're my friends, they're my clients' things, and I want to support them. But I also kind of like antsy and anxious in prep, where I don't want to feel idle. But I also can stress yourself out when you're trying to do so much for everybody else, because you're doing it on purpose to not look selfish.
Right.
Because that people are already looking at you thinking that like, oh, he's in prep, he's going to be selfish. So I'd be like, oh, no, I'm going to get there beforehand. I want to be the first one there, and I'm going to help you put down the chairs. I'm going to take down the tables, last one to leave. And I remember some nights I'd be going home, I'm like, dude, I'm dead. And I'm drained. And I think that caused a little bit of like stress and water retention, and just some like unneeded like mental stuff towards the end. Is that there's a balance, and for like a first time competitor, it may be better to say no and kind of like isolate a little bit more. But then it comes to my next question is, if you're in a relationship, whether it's a new relationship, if you're married, you've been together for a long time, what are some tips that you have for the spouse of a competitor? Because you have a very good spouse that is there for you. What are some things that you've learned from how she treats you and how she deals with you in your prep that you can maybe help a listener like, hey, spouses of people in prep, this is what my wife does, or this is what I've heard my clients' spouses do. What are some of the things that you would have to say to them?
I would say communicate. I mean, that's the best thing you could do, because some people want the help. Some people are like, hey, can you make this for me? Can you make my eggs? Can you do this? Be there to help them out, but communicate that. And then some people are very loner, where they don't want any help. They don't want anyone around them. So you got to kind of you got to communicate and listen to your spouse. I know some people just don't want to be bothered during prep. And, if they need something, they'll say something, but some people can't accept that, and they got to like hover over them. But that'll cause more like a
divide,
more friction between the two. So definitely communication and listen. And then if they want you there, just be there for them. Help them out. Help them with the little things, because the little things are actually big things, like doing laundry, helping with their meal preps, taking out the trash. They'll make it up for you after their show. But in the meantime, we're trying to do a show. When they're on prep, they should be resting and just pick up the slack. Say, I'm going to take out the trash. I'm going to wash these dishes. Don't worry about it. Like help out in other avenues, so they don't have to do the small things as well as this big prep. That's what I would say. Communicate.
Yeah, communicate's huge. I think from the competitor side of things, you have to know at least what your partner's bare minimum is, to at least be able to give that, right? And then explain to them like, hey, I'm not going to be able to give you my maximum, but I will be able to give you your minimum. And I think that as a competitor, you still have to remember that you're doing this to yourself. We've talked about that before. You know, putting a gun to your head and forcing you into prep.
Right.
And you're supposed to be learning from the experience. So if you're not doing anything except sitting at home, stare at the wall, you know, do your cardio, stare at the wall, eat your meals, stare at the wall, you haven't taken an inventory or learned about yourself in that prep either.
Right.
Now, for you, would you say you're someone that needs more isolation in prep or someone that needs more assistance and appreciates the assistance more?
Honestly, me personally, I do so much. Like, meaning like every minute is allocated. There's never a time where I'm just sitting down doing nothing. So I do appreciate that help because the little thing is a big thing for me. I mean, even now I'm not in prep, but if I say I'm gonna go, when it's time to go to bed, I go to the back. I'm doing laundry, getting my items ready for tomorrow. Teeth, you know, there's so many little things I got to do that during prep, if someone stepped in and helped during that time, that would be very, very beneficial.
Right.
So
let you take a breath.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll say that.
Especially when you're in prep and prepping clients and building your business and doing all these things. Like, it's different when you have a job that's like a 9 to 5, and then you clock out at 5 p.m., turn your phone off, and you gotta deal with anybody.
Right.
But I mean, look right here. We've been here for 19 minutes now, and I've had about 15 text messages from clients already.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I imagine in prep, you're looking at that like, man.
Yes. Right.
That's a lot of relationships that need to be held together.
Right.
And some of the main ones that take the stress are your children and your spouse, your significant other, or your parents, immediate family. I do think it improves over time, like once they've gone through it with you a few times. But as a father, what do you feel like is how do you manage like that relationship too?
I would say just communication again, and letting the kids let them know what you're doing, you know. And I like that because you're setting an example, you're setting a tone, and then experience. Once you get through it, you bring them with you along on that journey. So they see, why is dad so isolated? Why is he snapping? Why is he eating so much? Why is he getting up and leaving so often? And then they see the final result and they see you on stage. You bring them there with you and involve them in that part of it. And they're like, wow, you did this for that. I feel like you were doing that for a long time and you got up there for that. You know, it's a good teaching moment. A teachable moment. Yeah. So for me, it's more of that. It's more teaching. Like, look, I did this. You can do this too. It's more, I see it as that, especially for kids, you know?
What about with, how do you handle getting like the poking of the bear? Because like I said, usually I've seen you change your workout times before. One thing that I've noticed in prep is like you may switch when you're working out during the day so that there's not so many people here.
Yes.
Right. That's just the one thing I've noticed, like from the outside looking in that you've done, where you've taken a stance like, hey, I don't want to be bothered, so I'm not even going to give you the opportunity to be bothered.
Exactly.
Right. So I know that's one thing you do. Do you have anything else you do to like, I don't know, like say lock in or to really like focus in prep?
Like say those early hours are the quiet hours, and those are hours you can, you have to yourself. So those are uninterrupted hours. Not a lot of people want to get up at 3 or 4 in the morning. Those are the quiet hours. So that's one thing I do to prevent some of the noise, or the distractions during the rest of the day. But other than that, I mean, just kind of going with the flow. I don't really have a good one on that one.
I think around here it's a little different too. People understand a little bit more than if you're at a corporate gym.
Yeah.
Like at Self-Made, there's a lot of competitors here or people that aim to compete.
Yeah.
So when they see Jarvis put his hoodie up and his headphones over them, they're like, oh, wait, don't talk to Jarvis time.
I kind of have a stigma, I guess, when you say that now. So, yeah, that's kind of
But it's different when you're in prep.
Yeah.
Like you can tell the difference in your attitude, your mood or whatever. Where I'd probably look like an a-hole when I'm working out 24/7, regardless if it's prep or not. I just got that RBF, a resting bro face. But Now, from the competitor side of things, you have to also manage your expectations from others, because I think that a lot of competitors think that like the whole weight of the world's on their shoulders for this prep, when everyone else in your life has got other things that are stressing them out too.
Yeah.
You've added this to your plate, right? And you can't expect everyone to like tiptoe around you. Right. They're still going to treat you a certain way based on how they are in their life, what they're going through. So I think a lot of competitors too, especially the emotional, like kind of mood swings that happen when you're on high cardio, low carbs, stuff like that, when you get hangry, is you can't expect everyone to know how you're feeling from day to day, because your feelings are kind of fluctuating from day to day. Yeah. And expecting that people are going to be like, oh, you shouldn't treat me that way because I'm in prep. It's like an entitlement type thing, Right, yeah. And I think that, especially for male competitors after a few shows, like you should be able to handle your preps and manage your emotions, especially as far as aggression goes, pretty handily. Right. Like if you don't have control over that by like your second or third prep, maybe this is not for you. Right. What about the female side? Not to be sexist or anything, but how many crying phone calls have you gotten?
A lot. A lot. Every prep, there's always
they were just
week
dicks.
to week. Week to week. It's always those, I can't do this anymore. I can't. This is ridiculous. I don't know if I want to continue. You got to talk them off the ledge. Right. It's every week that their hormones. The hormones for females are serious. You got to deal with that when they're in prep. So honestly, females are way harder to prep than than men are. I'm sorry I had to say that, but it's the truth. They take
like all these gray hairs.
Yeah, they take longer to prep. Their bodies don't respond the same, especially if it's the second or third prep. Oh man.
A lot of times they haven't rebounded properly after the first one, so they're not ready, but they want to do it because they like how it looked, or they liked how they felt, or the attention they got. Yes. But a lot of women, not just women, guys too, we don't want to take the proper reverse of the diet and everything, and then also we look at ourselves like, oh, I got to prep again. Yep. The only way I can be in shape is if I'm in prep. Yeah. But hormonally they're not ready for it. Yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. But give me one story before we go on, like, say, like the silliest thing a client's done or called you or told you in like a low carb, hangry, prep brain type situation.
All right, let's see. I got a couple of them. I'm trying to remember this one. I had a client. It was peak week, and I'm trying to think. I told him that I gave him his peak week protocol, and then I believe it was peak week, day 2 or day 3. I checked his weight, and it wasn't dropping how we planned, and how I had it written down, or how I planned. And he was in the car with his wife, and I asked him, I was like, man, what are you doing? Like, have you, and I start going over the list, have you had this? And he's like, yes, I've done this, I've done all that. And then in the background, his wife said, oh, did you tell him about the Gatorade? And I said,
I have 35 grams of sugar.
I said, wait, what? And in the background, she's like, yeah, did you tell him about the Gatorade? And he was like, oh, it was Gatorade Light or Gatorade Zero or something like that. It don't matter. I was like, no.
Yeah, right.
Are you serious? She's like, yeah, I just had a Gatorade.
There's another 64 ounces. Yeah, right.
I was like, man, you can't do that. I think it was Gatorade, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I was like, you can't do that. So that's some of the things that they do, And if his wife hadn't said anything, I wouldn't have known. And
then it affects your data too for next time. Like, we don't know why that mistake was made. Yeah. So I'll have people take pictures. This is even for just regular clients. Like, you give them a meal plan, and then if like they're not dropping or they're not growing or something's not working for the first month, and they swear they're doing it, I'll be like, take a picture of everything that goes in your mouth that day. You know what I mean? Of every meal. And I remember giving this girl a meal plan. It's just a super basic, simple thing to start: oatmeal, some berries, a Greek yogurt, and like a protein shake. And so she takes the picture, and I see a Gatorade and a banana, and I see what the oatmeal's real brown. Brown sugar and raisins in there. And I was like, I don't see no Gatorade, banana, brown sugar, raisins on your meal plan. But you add all that up together, she was having almost 100 extra carbs just at breakfast.
Right.
And to her, that was a completely normal thing to add to that food. I would have never known because she told me in the text, yes, I'm following the meal plan exactly. And I'm eating exactly this. But we can't, you ate that plus, you know, but to her, you know, this much oats, well, everyone puts brown sugar and raisins in their oats. So I put it in mine too, you know, like not exactly, you know. So all those things that mine was a lady called me. She's a bikini competitor. She was about a week out or about 3 days out from the show. And she just finished her last training session, and she had the rest day before, and then she was gonna get weigh-ins. And she had finished up her little like pump workout, light workout that she was doing before we were gonna start carbing her up a little bit. And she's going to the gas station, needs gas, and she's on the phone like, I'm hungry and I'm this, I'm that, and just all these things coming out. And I remember answering the phone like, okay. This is all normal. You're going to be fine. Just make it through the next hour. Do you have your meals ready? Yes. Do you have this ready? Yes. Do you have your Dixie cup that you need to pee in, or your red Solo cup, whatever your girls do? You know what I mean? And all these things ready for the show. Yes. You're going to be fine. She said, okay. She stopped crying. And I hear, and she cusses. I'm like, what? She goes, well, I was at the gas station. I was talking to you on the phone. I forgot I didn't even pump gas. Now I got to turn around, and I had to get back in line at Costco for the gas. So she drove all the way up to the pump and sat on the phone with me complaining that she didn't know or she was nervous or whatever. And she drove away, had to get all the way back in line for her gas. Perfect example of prep brain.
Yeah.
So anyway, you got anything else for us today, Jarvis?
No. I mean, 2026, happy prepping, you know. Yeah. Hopefully some of this advice helps you through your prep or help you prepare or mentally prepare, because that's a huge thing. That's what I try to do with all my competitors, mentally prepare them for the prep, because that goes a long way. That way, with my experience, everything you should experience during the prep, it shouldn't be a surprise, you know. So just hopefully you take this information and can apply it and use it in your own prep, or even for your own clients, whoever this is for.
All right, guys. So that's a wrap up of our series on the first-time competitors. This next series we're going to go through is going to be for you coaches out there and just trainers in general on how to grow your business. Not only if it's a coaching business, we're going to talk about methods that we've done, methods that have worked, methods that haven't worked to build over six-figure businesses. So stay tuned and you'll learn how to grow your business along with us. Thanks, guys.